Today, we're going to do a little time traveling. Let's go back about 900 years, to the Goryeo Dynasty in Korea. Our guide for this journey is an amazing 8-line poem. It's written in classical Chinese characters, or Hanja, and believe it or not, it holds a piece of wisdom that is incredibly relevant to our busy modern lives. You ready? Let's get into it.
I know, it sounds kind of crazy, right? A fight? On a snail's horn? But just let that strange question sink in for a minute. Because by the time we're done here, that bizarre little image might just completely change how you look at your own challenges. So to figure out what this whole snail's horn thing is about, we're going to decode a poem. And this wasn't written by just anyone. It was written by one of the most powerful political figures of his era, a man who knew all about success and all about struggle. So, our story starts with two key elements, a person and a place. The person is 김부식, and the place is Gamnosa Temple, a Buddhist sanctuary that was his escape from the chaos of the political world. Now let's be clear, 김부식 was no detached philosopher living in an ivory tower. This guy was a man of action. We're talking about a prime minister, a military leader who crushed massive rebellions. He was right in the thick of the power games of his time. He lived and breathed the exact kind of high-stakes struggle that he's about to reflect on, and that's what makes what he says so incredibly powerful.
So the poem opens with Kimbu식 arriving at Gamnosa Temple. He's getting away, physically and mentally separating himself from what he calls the dusty world. Let's take a look at the very first 2 lines. Okay, so here are the lines in their original Hanja. These are the classical Chinese characters that were the written language of the educated class in Korea for centuries. We'll read them with the Korean pronunciation. Sokek buldo che and dungarim uisa chong. Now, I know it might look a little intimidating, but we're going to break down what these beautiful characters actually mean piece by piece.
Let's see how this first line comes together. The first character is sok, and it means worldly or secular. The next one, gak, means guest. Put them together, sokak, and you get worldly guests. Think of people totally wrapped up in politics, money, gossip, or for us, maybe the 24/7 news cycle and social media feeds. Then you have buldo, which means cannot reach, and cho, which means a place. So the whole line, sokak buldo cho, paints a picture of a sanctuary, a place that worldly people can't get to.
And the second line just builds right on that idea. Dung means to climb, and rim means to look down from up high. Uisa is a neat combination that basically means your thoughts, your mind. And the last character, chung, means clear or pure. So you can see it, right? He's climbing up, looking down, and his mind is clearing up.
So, you put it all together, and you get this gorgeous opening. By literally getting away from the noise of the world, he finds mental clarity. It's not just a physical climb up a mountain to a temple. It's a journey away from all that mental clutter. Okay, so his mind is clear. Now what does he actually notice? The next few lines paint this incredible picture of the natural world, a world that plays by a completely different set of rules than the human court he just left behind.
He looks out and he writes, San, Hyung, Chu, Gang, Ho, Gangsek, Ya, Yu, Myung. What he's describing here is this quiet, lasting beauty. It's such a huge contrast to the fleeting, temporary nature of political power, isn't it? Let's do a quick breakdown of the words to see what he's seeing. Sun Hyung, the shape of the mountains, is Geng Ho, even better, in Chu, the autumn. And the Gangsek, the river's color, is Yu Myung, still bright, even at Ya, which is night. See, nature's beauty doesn't fade with time or the seasons. It just exists. And here, this is where the poem really starts to turn inward. Baekjo gobijin, gobom dok gokyong. Did you notice the repetition? We see characters that mean alone or solitary. That's go and dok. He's zeroing in on these solitary things that are moving with this incredible sense of freedom.
And there it is. This is the key observation that triggers the poet's big realization. That bird is just flying, unburdened, until it's gone. That sailboat is just drifting, light and easy, with no destination. The journey is the point. They are totally free from ambition, free from all the things we get tangled up in. For the poet, seeing this changes everything.
This all leads us to the poem's incredible conclusion. After he's found this mental clarity and observed the freedom in nature, 김부식 finally looks back at his own life, and he delivers the killer line that holds the key to our whole explainer. 자참화각상, 반세멱공명. These are the lines of confession. This is that light bulb moment where everything he's just seen and felt suddenly crystallizes into one single, incredibly humbling thought.
All right, let's really unpack this, because this is the absolute heart of the poem. Judchum means to be ashamed of oneself. Ashamed of what? Well, because Ben Se, for half his lifetime, he was myok, he was seeking or searching for gongmyong. And gongmyong is worldly success, merit, and fame. And where did this lifelong chase take place? Wagaksang, upon a snail's horn.
And this is just brilliant. The phrase wagak, snail's horn, wasn't something Busikkim just made up. He's actually tapping into a very famous, very old idiom, wagak jijeng, literally the fight on a snail's horn. It comes from a classic Chinese text, and it's this powerful metaphor for any conflict that feels absolutely world-ending to the people in it, but is completely insignificant from a bigger perspective.
The story behind the idiom is great. It goes like this. A king is furious and about to start a huge, devastating war. A wise sage shows up and asks him about a snail. He says, on its left horn, there's a country called Chu. On its right horn, a country called Man. And they are always at war over territory, with battles that kill tens of thousands. The king just laughs and says that's a ridiculous fairy tale. And that's when the sage hits him with the punchline. He asks, in the infinite, boundless universe, what real difference is there between your war and the war on the snail's horn?
And suddenly it all just clicks. The poet, Busikkim, realizes his entire life's work, all the political maneuvering, the power struggles, the fight for his gongmyong, it was all just a wagakjijeng. It was a war fought on a snail's horn. All the office politics, the rivalries, the modern battles we fight for status. In the grand scheme of things, they're just tiny little squabbles in a tiny little kingdom. But out of this moment of really intense, almost brutal self-awareness comes this profound sense of peace. See, the poem isn't really about regret. It's about enlightenment. It's about the wisdom you gain when you finally see things as they really are.
So, what can we take away from this 900-year-old masterpiece? Well, first, perspective is everything. Just like Busikkim found out, sometimes you have to step away from the fight to see it clearly. And second, the very things we spend our lives chasing, our own gongmyong, our careers, our dramas, those can become our own little prisons. The poem hints that real freedom, the kind that bird and that sail have, comes from letting go of these self-important battles.
And that brings us right back to that first question. We all have them, right? Struggles at work, in our families, online, things that feel absolutely monumental. But maybe, just maybe, they're our own personal snail's horns. The timeless challenge of this poem is to ask ourselves, what would happen if we climbed our own mountain, cleared our minds, and saw our biggest battles for what they really are?